Basically, we've been looking at estimation. Rate analysis helps you to estimate. So I think both of them are very tightly integrated with each other. So you will not be able to do an estimate unless you know how to do the quantities, and then your estimates are going to be tied down with the what you call as the rates which you work on. Because when you determine the merit of one process over another, you will find that the thing which actually wins is the rate. So whatever said and done, end of the day, what is it that you are going to be bothered about? It is nothing but the rate. And of course, you're also going to look at the relative merits which you accrue. Okay. Now, when you are going to, in the last class, we were looking at how we can do some the analysis of rates for a excavation. So the first thing which we probably saw was the rates were dependent on the type of equipment. Okay, and we were also looking at the type of work. So when we are looking at type of work, the same excavation could be done in hard rock, soft rock, so on and so forth. And at that time we found, or we noticed, that the amount of effort which you put in gets varied. So the quantity of work is fixed. How much of that work is going to be done in a set interval of time, right? So how much of your work is going to be done in a set interval of time? So we speak about equipment and type of work. Now I'm going to probably walk you through some of the other aspects also. And although I told that I'll be talking about concrete, I thought I'll just push it aside a little so that some more of these concepts are brought in with greater meaning. So now what happens is, let us take the case of simple work. Earthwork was an aspect which we saw. Apart from earthwork, can you give me any other item of work which we can use as a case study for today's lecture on understanding the influence of rate? I mean, like various factors that influence rates.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
please.
that's what mean electrical work and
Electrical works.
yeah, coloring like this kind of.
Okay. Can I have what I'll call as a more of a civil engineering? What we will probably be worrying about. See, electrical wiring and other things. Most of those things are not exactly in our scope of work. I will definitely touch on this if I have time at the end of this class. Okay, wiring and other things, I will speak. I'm not saying I will not speak. But then, if suppose I say, what would you talk about as a civil engineer? That is something I'll be very curious to know. Can you just tell me something where a civil engineer will be working on? I mean, like what you will feel a civil engineer is doing exactly?
Plumbing is also civil engineering. Plumbing.
Okay, plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tiles work, plumbing.
tile work, plumbing. Okay, okay, fine. Let me probably use the example of tile work or plumbing itself. Now look at this. First and foremost, there is something called specification. Okay, so the client is going to specify a few things. Okay, can you specify? Tell me the things which you will specify as a client for tile work, tiling. What are the things you'll say for your tiles?
No, sir. Like I can understand.
What? See, if I'm the contractor, I'm doing work for you. You're my employer. Okay, so you want me to do tiling work. What are the things you'll talk about? You'll ask me to do.
Yeah. Type of tile like this.
Okay, size of tile. Okay, then
Mm, texture of tiles like
very good.
kind of.
Yes, yes, that's a very good point. We will be looking at texture of tile, which is this board is a
Yeah.
little difficult to write on. Okay, so you'll be looking at the texture of tile then.
Then tiles are different in diameter.
Sorry.
Uh, type with the different sizes.
Yeah, size of tile you already told, then texture of tile, then
Okay.
maybe you'll be looking at the
Like
color of tile.
color and design.
Yeah, color of tile, what is the design on the tile. Okay, so these are some of the things that you will be specifying. Some of the things which you will expect from me is that the tiles, all the lines should be straight. That is, if I'm having a tile, all the lines in the tile work should be looking straight. Of course, I know I'm drawing crap, but yeah, please bear with me. I'm trying my best to make it look somewhat reasonable. So you'll be having to look at the tiles as all squares or rectangles, perfect squares or perfect rectangles. Suppose you have the tiles done like this. Okay, so there is a slight, very slight variation. You will not like this, right? So typically what happens is in a construction job, how straight or how much of right angles are to be given, all of these will come under the technical specification. Okay, and what is the material you're going to use to joint this tile? Okay, what is the thickness of mortar, and what should be the width of joints, because between each tile there is a small gap. Okay, so this gap uh, is also specified in many of the top quality works. Okay, now I don't know if you noticed, in our campus we were doing a lot of tiling work, and yes, probably I'll try to share some of the observations which I had, like, on how they did. So basically, if suppose you look at tiles, okay, you're pasting tiles on the floor. Okay, so this is something we'll call as floor tiles. Then we have the skirting. Wherever the tile is what I call as, just above the interface between the wall and the floor, you'll keep a strip. Okay, that is called as skirting. So skirting height and all those things you'll be specifying. And also in the floor tiles, you got the joints. Now, when I'm going to do the tiles, I can have large size tiles. Okay, the tiles which will be around 1 meter by 1 meter or so, and we can have tiles which are around 300 by 300 also. Okay, now you tell me which of these two tiles is going to take a longer time to construct. If you look at it, if I'm having a big tile, I am covering the more number of square foot or square meter per day, or per tile. I am automatically getting more coverage. So instead of going for what I'll call as 9 such tiles, one tile is being used. So in this one, nine of these tiles will have to go in for getting that same floor getting, same area of floor getting covered. So one way of looking at it is the operation. Okay, like how they put the mortar in the bottom, the bedding in the bottom, how they arrange it, how they move it around so that it forms that correct size and square is uh, is going to be like, instead of doing it 9 times, I'm only going to do it one time. Okay, now you might, like, so that is one part of the story. On the other hand, if I'm looking at this style is much heavier. Okay, so this is much more heavy when compared to this fellow. So it's more easy for a person to like work with this style than when working with the other bigger tile. Other thing is, which of these tiles are more likely to break? Obviously you are going to tell that this fellow is going to be more susceptible to breakage, because a person who is going to accidentally like even drop a tile, it means that in here one tile breaks, but here equivalent of 8 tiles are broken over and above. That means here if just by losing one of this tile, I have lost the equivalent of losing 8 tiles of material, right? Any questions till this point in time, please? Any questions here? So now this means I am not getting an outright what I call as speed of 8 times greater than what I do when I get here. There is some middle ground. Okay, so the middle ground is I may not be able to do I may be able to make the work maybe 3 times faster. It is not going to be 8 times faster because I'm using this over the other one. Chances of wastage, the chances of wastage increases. So let me say that suppose I'm going to have wastage of 0.15, that is 15% of tiles are getting wasted. Here there's a chance that 0.2 tiles are getting wasted. Okay, so this means when I'm doing my rate analysis, I'm looking at one more step. The labor which is required for using one size of tile is different than when I'm using the other size of tile. There are two different sizes of tiles. They are only tiles, but then the quantum of work, outturn of work when using a certain type of tile is more than when using the other type of tile. Can one of you just tell me which of these is going to have what we'll call as the um, more quantity of effort required? Okay, that means, okay, let us say when I say effort required, which is going to be more difficult to lay, smaller tiles or larger tiles? Can you please tell me, of there are two tiles we have here, which of these tiles is going to be I mean, like if I'm asking you to do the work among these two, which of these tiles do you feel is going to be more effort intensive? The bigger tile or the smaller one?
Bigger tiles,
Bigger tile. Why do you feel that the bigger tile is going to take more effort?
for carrying,
Okay, for carrying. But which of these
for
is
handling, and we should make sure it shouldn't break,
okay?
and
So
we should handle it care while placing it.
okay, so you, if you are given a choice, you might prefer to go for the smaller tiles. Am I right?
Yes.
And probably that is cheaper. Look here, there's nothing right, nothing wrong in this one. See, now this is a very relative statement which you are making. This is more difficult, this is less difficult, and this is a perception. This is an answer based on perception. This is where rate analysis actually comes into the picture. Okay, I might say that the bigger tiles are easier, but is the real, is it really that the bigger tiles are easier, or is it actually the smaller tiles which are better? So what happens is, with time, every company would have noticed for doing a certain square meterage of work, a certain crew was required. Okay, see, for example, you when we were doing the work in the main building, the dado and flooring in the floor, the dado work was replaced in the, or added in the main building. So it was a crew like this. There will be at night there will be a person with a with a breaker. They'll remove all the plaster from the walls. The next day, there were three helpers. Okay, the work of these helpers is to bring the material, like the tiles themselves from the ground floor. The tiles were kept at, like in the night, the tiles were moved up. Then they used to bring mortar from the ground floor, and that was the work they did. So the masons will remix the mortar, or what you call as regauge the mortar, add a little water, and then they started to work. So there were actually two masons only who were actually having to do the work, and they had I think one more helper with them. So totally four helpers and two masons were working, and in the main building, in the corridor, was each corridor was completed in half a day. Okay, so now this kind of gives me a feel as an engineer. Okay, in Vellore, when I'm doing a work, if I'm having this particular setup, okay, 3 plus 2 plus 1 and one more person with a rock breaker, I'll be able to do my work. So probably there were 3 helpers working during the day and 3 helpers working during the night. Okay, so if suppose, let us for argument's sake say this was the requirement to do 100 square meter of tiling per day. Okay, it means, okay, it means that if I'm having this crew, I can do 100. Okay, and in which condition? The condition that we were working on the first floor, okay, or on the second floor, up to maybe, like, for a certain amount of floors this will work, and beyond it we may need to rethink our labor force. Okay, so for this particular work, I need this kind of people. For this kind of for this particular work, I need this kind of people. Okay, now yeah, I'm sorry. So now what happens? If you go a little further, you will remember that you are having what I call as a few more things. So what are these few more things? So you have the Delhi schedule of rates, which gives you the cost of each labor, which you will probably be multiplying by a factor. This factor is for the local rate. Okay, what is the rate which you have to pay the local? Is it going to be more than what the Delhi schedule says, lesser than what the Delhi schedule says, or will it be equal to what the Delhi schedule says? So you do all of this, that means you're getting the cost of labor. Okay, so if you go to a different place, you will have a different set of labor force, and again you will notice that the tiles which we are using is the 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter dimension. So when I'm using for that kind of what you call as work, this many people are enough. One very important thing, see, when you're using a 0.3 by 0.3 tile, okay, I will need 16 tiles. I need to take 16 tiles to cover one this one. And when I was watching the way they did, they were bringing the tiles in a wheelbarrow. Okay, so you will be probably stacking the tiles like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now 6 or 7 tiles have been brought like this. If I'm bringing a smaller tile, I would have been bringing 7 into 16. So can you see the difference? This is where you are going to do the math very carefully. Okay, so when you are going to do I mean, like, although it is easier, the wastage may be less and so many other things, but just by bringing 7 tiles, I am almost bringing the equivalent of 106 tiles. 6 of 42. Okay, so 4, so 112. I hope my math is right. Okay, but anyway, we got too used to the calculator. So this many tiles would have been arranged in the place of the 16 tiles which we have. Okay, so this is an example which I am giving to make you, like, get a feel for how we will be working in the practice. Okay, how we are going to do certain things. Okay, see, the mortar consumption is going to be constant. Whether I'm going to use a large tile or a smaller tile, mortar consumption may be the same. Maybe you might use a slightly richer mortar, because for especially the dado work, because the tile has to paste, and this is a rather large size of tile. Okay, and yeah, so every time, like, you have to check whether it is level. Okay, all the tiles which you're keeping, especially on the wall as a dado, whether they are level and whether they are truly vertical, whether the 90-degree joints are done. Yes, so all of these have to be done, whether you are doing for one small tile or for one big tile. So again, if I'm going to look at this example, for 16 times I have done the operation of leveling, and also looking at the what we call as the right angle, whether it's right angle, whether the gap between the two joints are the same. Okay, so all these work would have been done over and over again. Okay, so this is something which you need to think about. Okay, so rate need not only be influenced by the type of work. So blindly, please do not take that the rate is constant. It is involving quite a lot of factors. You cannot, of course, be asking your senior, okay, sir, how much will it come, how much will it come? They are likely to get annoyed. And for this reason, for to every engineering graduate, or the person who's maybe leaving the college or just joining an organization, it is very important that you understand that indices have to be developed by yourself. Okay, you should be in a position to relate with previous jobs. This is how it is going to be looking like, and this is one more reason why all of us should go to site and see how things are being done. Okay, now I'll just take a short break here. and ask you all whether you are comfortable with what we have told till now. Are you able to understand? Do you have any questions? If you have questions, please unmute yourself and ask. I'll greatly appreciate it. So since we have not had any questions, I take it that you guys don't have questions at this moment. I will proceed. I will move forward, and we will again take the case of the wiring. Okay, since it was asked, um, but may I just probably go for brickwork? Okay, brickwork. At this point, it seems to be that I prefer to go for brickwork. One of the things I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take up this assignment. Okay, find how many bricks are there in a meter cube. Find how many bricks uh, are required for a meter cube. Okay, now this is a kind of homework which I'm giving you. So probably in the next class, I will have an online dynamic quiz, and I'll suddenly say you will need to do, like for example, you will need to tell me what is the quantity of material required for doing a certain amount of square meter cube of meter cube of brickwork. Or please remember, the unit of measure for partition walls or light partitions is meter square. So if suppose we suddenly say how many blocks are required for a meter square of wall, I kind of would like you to do this answer. So, and for all of this, you have almost like fixed answers. So please do not don't feel. Yeah. So we'll be using these some of the benchmarks which are recognized by industry. Okay. Now moving on. See, let us use the same principles which you just saw for tiles in this one, for brickwork also. Okay, now look at this. Initially we had only what were known as the country bricks, the red bricks. Okay, so of course we used to classify it as class 1, class 2, and so on and so forth. But what is happening is these bricks had a particular size. Okay, let's put it 19 by 9 by 9. Okay, so now these bricks had a certain weight. Okay, so when you are transporting these bricks, okay, you are spending a lot of energy. After this, we had the fly ash blocks. Okay, we had the fly ash blocks. Now these blocks were much bigger. Okay, these blocks were much bigger than the other ones. In fact, I kind of I myself am yeah. So now what is happening is these fly ash blocks are like they were very popular at one point in time. Even now they are very popular because they are what we call as uh, they are green materials. They are more sustainable than the clay blocks. Okay, for the simple reason that they take some of the very bad byproducts of the industry. That is which industry? The power plants, and then they make it. Then they are used up. Okay. Now the fly ash blocks, okay, are sold at 400 mm or 40 mm by 15 mm by 200 mm. So 15 centimeters by I'm using the same one which I'm using. So same thing here. What we are using centimeter, we are using here. Okay. Now what is happening here? When a mason is working, instead of keeping at the time of keeping two bricks, he has already done what we call as uh, two blocks of work. So because the size has become larger, because the size became larger, his productivity is, I can't say exactly double because these blocks are quite heavy. So to take them, place them it is going to take some effort, but it is much faster than doing it with the country bricks, because he is not requiring to take that much time. Now we have the what we call as the Aerocon blocks. These blocks are very light. They may even be bigger than the fly ash blocks. Okay. Now the number of blocks which a laborer can carry has become also more, because this is so light. They don't have to they hopefully they will not be finding it a very painful experience to lift these blocks and come. In India still it's that, you know, we still use manual labor for transport. So the number of blocks which get transported is also more. The speed at which you do is also more. Okay. Now if we ask a question, which of these blocks are better, what would be your answer? Now I'll request if suppose, you know, there's somebody who can volunteer, it will be the best, because I myself find it a little embarrassing to call people by name. Any volunteers, please?
Yes, sir.
Now I got three options: red bricks, fly ash blocks, ACC. What would you prefer to make the work faster?
Sir, ACC.
Why?
Because it is lighter to
Okay.
work with,
Okay.
and also the size is we can make it in bigger sizes.
No, the block is bigger, so the number of repetition is getting reduced. But then there is a cost factor involved when compared to the red brick, when I'm comparing it to the fly ash brick, and also to the ACC block. I think each ACC block is around 60 rupees. I'm not too sure about the price, but I think it is 60 rupees. Here you'll be getting it around 10 rupees. And I don't know, I think I'm sorry, I'll not quote the rates because I don't want to quote it wrong. But yeah, but one thing, the ACC blocks are that much more costly. Okay, so here again you are going to see which of these is going to be making your work so much faster. Okay, now let us say that we are having a brick wall. Okay, and this is also one of the important things which probably you guys should be right. Okay, got it. So let me use another color and draw this one. Okay, so now what is happening, this thickness is different for different blocks. Okay, for red bricks I may have to go up to 10 mm. Okay, and for fly ash blocks also it might be 10 or 15 mm. And for ACC block, if you are using a jointing compound, it is in the order of a few millimeters, like 1 or 2 millimeters is what you require to provide. Okay, so what happens here is the mortar is having a cost. The mortar is having a cost. Okay, now which is costlier, mortar or the block work?
Sir,
Which is costlier, mortar or the block work?
the block work, sir.
No, actually the mortar cost is more. The jointing compound is actually much more than the cost of the if you take the if suppose the mortar is cheaper than the block work, I might as well consider putting the mortar throughout instead of going for the block work. Are you able to get my point? Okay, so now what happens?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so if suppose I'm going to increase the mortar thickness, again the cost could vary. So now we are seeing that there is one part of the labor involved. In other words, in some of the operations the labor productivity is increased. Okay, because you are changing the construction material, but the cost of the construction material itself is changing. Okay, the cost of the construction material is changing. Again, see, some of the things like this mortar which you use and other things are also going to come and influence the cost. Okay, and again other thing is the time factor. Okay, that's again the time factor. Okay, so you will be having to take a judicious decision. Now let me say that based on all your factors, for the block work which you are going to do, say if you are going to do 100 cubic meters of block work and you are getting a number like 300 man hours is required. Okay, now what is happening? All these 300 man hours for this 100 cubic meter is not spent on one day. What does it mean? On day one, okay, on day one, when you are doing the brickwork, okay, you have done say 1.2 meters. So this is day one. So day one I have done 1.2 meters. Now day two, when I go, I will find that there are some windows. Okay, so I cannot do block work in the windows. But what is happening? I am finding that I am having to climb on a small stool or a platform and then do my work because the height is keeping on increasing. So this is day 2. Now when I go to day 3, it is going to be at a much higher level. Okay. Now the amount of brickwork requires 300 man hours. These 300 man hours, because when I go higher up, I need more manpower in those days. Okay, so I need to be very careful in hiring my or planning my requirement for people. So typically, what do we do in a big organization? When I come to this level, okay, I will bring people from another side, make them work. On the other day, third day, I'll bring still more number of people, and then we will do the last level. Okay, so that means one group of people could be staying only here. The second group of people who are going to help with the the small increment of number of people whom I require, I can bring from another site. And for the place where I need the most number of people, okay, so I can bring from yet another site. Okay, and when you do this, you will plan that in site 1, okay, day 1 there will be 10 people. Okay, and so let me put this as day 1, day 2, so on and so forth. So site 2, site 3, so on and so forth. So here I'll have only 3 people. Then here I may have 0 people. Now what happens when I want people? I may bring from this side 3 people, and from this side I might probably make it as 6. Now I brought what I call as 3 people, 6 people out of this, leaving me with 4 people on this side. So when you are planning for labor, you can very easily plan. Okay. Now there are 2 aspects which we are trying to do here. One is optimize the labor. Okay, and 2, we are trying to see how we can probably work on this efficiently. Okay, in all of this, again the whole thing is going to come to the rates. Okay, 2 things is happening when I am able to identify the what we call as productivity of the people which you have. I can plan my construction activity also. We are trying to link productivity with planning. Okay, so any questions at this point in time, please? We have linked productivity with planning here, right? Any questions, please? Okay. We'll so yes. So when you are going to work on this quantity of concrete, number of bricks, remember that block work size is fixed, but a thickness of mortar is going to play the devil. Okay, so when I am asking you to do this work, I am not actually giving you a very simple work. There is a little bit of thought also which you need to do. Of course, this work you have already done in your what I call as the um, in your quantity surveying paper. So yeah, I take it for granted that you guys will be able to dig it up and do the needful. Okay, now this particular part is actually like a offset of the or one of the benefits which we get. Okay, because once I know the time which is required, there are so many other things which we can very easily do. In the chat you had told roof work. By roof work, are you talking about concreting or are you talking about this sheet work?
So concreting along with foam works.
Okay, see, concreting along with if that is the case, I will probably just take it in the next class. Okay, where I am going to be more focused on concreting per se. Is it okay with you? Because one thing is, yeah, we also don't have much time here. I have exactly 4 minutes to close, so it's too long. And now about the wiring, actually wiring is nothing but, it is involved in multiple stages. Nowadays, most of the people like concealed wiring. In other words, all the wiring is inside the block work or inside the concrete. So when the concrete shuttering is poured and the reinforcement is done, okay, you will put the conduits, okay, and after the concreting is done, the block work will take place. After the block work is done, these people will make a chasing, that is, they'll cut on the wall. Nowadays, the power tools have made it very easy, okay. So they will cut the wall, put the conduits in, fill it with plaster. After everything sets, okay, after probably even after the plastering is done, they'll start to what we call as the pull the cables through these conduits and then do the wiring. Okay, now per se it's a very boring task, and I don't know how, I mean, like, how to go about too much with the rate analysis, because it is directly a function of the material. So if suppose you go into the what you call as the cables, you have what is called as the SWG, standard wire gauge of the conductor. So if suppose you put for a AC a smaller wire, the wire is likely to burn. But if you put a thicker wire, the cost goes up immediately. So what happens when you're putting a thick wire, the conduit also should be that much thicker. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to pull, and when you pull itself, the wiring could get damaged. Okay, so it is directly related to the cable which you put and the time which you take. Okay, now I wanted to say one more thing. So let us very quickly go back. So once you know the specification, the material cost is known, be it wiring, be it tiling, be it for any other purpose. Okay, then the text. So some of the specifications have to be given. If you want a very bright white, I mean, very clean white, it has a different cost. Putting certain coloring elements and a pattern has a cost. Sometimes you may want Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck on your tiles. If you are being a very fair person, you will have to pay Disney the royalty for using their images. So all of these come into the specification. Okay, then how much, because you are choosing a particular way working style, the work is going to be done. See, for example, in the olden days, when I'm specifically taking the example probably of this rebar, the rebar had to be taken manually, lifted manually. Today the tower crane is simply taking the material from the stockyard to the place where the bar benders are. Okay, and that takes a that makes the operation so much faster. Second thing, earlier when you used to do the bar bending, you'll be taking a chisel, somebody will be using a hammer and then cutting it. Today that is also gone. Today we have got the cutting wheels, just like that it is done. And then earlier they used to keep 3 pins, and between the pins you used to bend the reinforcing rod. Today we are having the bar bending machine. Okay, what does it mean? It means that your outturn of labor is greatly increased because you are investing heavily in technology. Okay, so when you are looking at the cost of doing a particular work immediately changes simply because of the technology which you are using. Sometimes it's the place where you are working also. Okay, so these are all factors which you should definitely take into account when you are going in for your rate analysis. Okay, so one very important thing is wastage. Okay, I talked about it briefly, but wastage has a very big role. So suppose maybe I'll talk a little bit about this when I'm talking about the reinforcing rod. And your assignment, immediate assignment, is that you should um, do the count the number of blocks which is required for maybe a meter cube of this one. So when you come to the next class, there will be some what I call as variation. I'll be a little forthright. I can change the size of the blocks, I can change the size of the mortar, and then ask you how many blocks are required for 1 meter cube of work. Is it okay with all of you? Right.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, my dear friends? Anyway, my dear friends, thanks a lot for joining. I hope you found this useful. I hope that this lecture also reinforced some of the concepts which you saw earlier, right? And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.